Hey, what's up, guys? So I've got about 45 minutes before I train, and I figured I would do this video to answer some questions on basically telling it like it is when it comes to anabolics. I don't want to use the word steroid too much in this video because YouTube will flag it. So, hey, it's Manny's birthday today. Happy birthday, Manny. So when I refer to anabolics, I'm talking about steroids, okay? First of all, somebody is telling me Fat Man Finance. I don't even know who this guy is. He did a video calling me natural or referring to me as a lying type bodybuilder that says I'm natural. So I don't know who he is. I didn't watch his video. And this really isn't in response to that. This is basically answering questions to everybody that might be curious as to how they actually affect you in the long run. Am I natural? And if I'm not natural, how long did I run gear for? So here's all those answers. First of all, I started taking anabolics when I was 20 years old. 20 on the button. Fell in the gym, had D-ball. He goes, dude, you got to try this. I had already plateaued as a natural bodybuilder, and I had already competed even in the New York State contest. I won the New York Teen State at the age of 18. I won Best Poser awards. I was winning everything natural at the age of 18. To get to the next level, to compete at a higher level, NPC, and try to turn pro, I then had to start taking anabolics. The bottom line is they don't test in these competitions. The NPC does not drug test, and the IFBB does not drug test. They would be out of business if they drug tested, okay? Bottom line, everybody knows that. It'd be one boring-ass sport, right? So everybody's geared to their freaking gills, man. Everybody takes a ton of shit. So at the age of 20, I started Dianabol, not knowing much about. There wasn't a lot of information. There was no internet. There's no Google. There's no nothing. There's just you're talking to a guy in a gym. When I started Dianabol, I just grew really fast off of that one. It was a pill, and I was taking like 3 pills a day, and I just started growing like a weed off of that stuff. Basically, from that moment on. I stayed geared up for 20 years. From the age of 20 to 30, geared up. From the age of 30 to 40, I never even came off. I would say probably at the age of 27 is where I just stayed on nonstop. Never came off. I'm just guessing. It was somewhere. Could have been 26, could have been 25. But my mid-20s was when I just went full steam ahead. And basically taking like huge doses of everything: testosterone, tren, deca, equipoise, winstrol, ton of freaking winstrol, and just running through the Chippendales. My whole 15 years with the Chippendales, I was on gear, never came off. It wasn't until I turned like 42 years old that I said, I'm getting older now. Somehow I made it out with these huge doses. Guys, I was taking like 3,000, 4,000 milligrams a test. I was going through all the experimental shit that all the bodybuilders were hearing about. Some of the pros are taking 2 grams, 3 grams. So I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do if I want to get to that level. And just to let you know, you do grow like an absolute freak when you're doing these massive doses. I grew like a freak on these doses. It wasn't until I hit about 42 years old that I just decided, you know what? I have no health issues. Nothing is wrong with my kidneys. Nothing is wrong with my pancreas, my liver. Like, I ran the largest amounts of gear for the longest amount of time. I have no heart issues, nothing. I said, I'm going to do my very last bodybuilding competition, and I'm going to walk away from this thing and just count my blessings. And that's what I did. I did my very last bodybuilding show. I ran a ton of gear for that show. After that, you see, prior, I had already been going to a doctor and getting testosterone, but I was also doing my own underground stuff, just getting my own gear and adding it to what I was getting from the doctor. And so after that bodybuilding competition, I then just said, forget it, I'm done. I am now going to rely solely on my doctor. Now, my doctor was prescribing me testosterone. If I would have injuries, he would prescribe me decadurabolin. Back then, I was also able to get growth hormone, which you're not able to get that anymore through a doctor. Now you can get peptides and stuff like that prescribed to you. You can get insulin prescribed to you if you decide to go that route. I will only do insulin for like powerlifting meets and shit when I want to load an excessive amount of carbohydrates and an excessive amount of creatine and amino acids, but I rarely do that now. Like, I have a powerlifting meet coming up and I'm not taking anything for it. I'm on doctor prescribed test. That's it. And that's all I really have been on for like the past 8 years. Doctor prescribed test. just to get my levels where they should normally freaking be. Like, I came off about 10 years ago, completely, 100% came off, went and got tested, and my natural testosterone was a 74. All right, that was about the equivalent of a 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl. That's where my test levels were, okay? So that's when the doctor put me on test, because I had suppressed my own natural test. But I had never come off, so everything in my body was normal. Like, I didn't give a shit. What do I need my own natural testosterone production for? It's beautiful that I was able to suppress it, because now I control my own testosterone. At this age, what I get from my doctor, I'm in total control of my estrogen, my testosterone. Every now and then I'll take Clomid, HCG, shit like that. It all comes from my doctor. And that's why your balls don't shrink. Just to give you guys some insight, you have these fools like Ape Father and this other guy, Fat Man Finance. They're entry-level knowledge. They don't have any knowledge whatsoever. So like this Fat Man Finance guy, I mean, look at him. You know what I'm saying? He's not even level 1 knowledge of anything anabolics. It's obvious in his appearance that he doesn't understand anything. It's obvious in Ape Father's appearance. When you're on these drugs, guys, when you're taking steroids, you are also taking HCG, you're taking Clomid, you're taking growth hormone, which is another big one. Your balls don't shrink. As a matter of fact, now there is that 1 in 10 to where they will have issues because they're just prone to issues. Guys like me, I'm not prone to any issues. You know, if anything, you know, the whole 30 years of me on anabolic steroids, my sex drive was out of freaking control, through the roof. You can't get enough. The benefits of it are just incredible. They're enormous, you know? So that just goes to show you that these guys are ignorant. They shouldn't even be in the conversation. They're so ignorant, okay? So anyway, my opinion, here's my opinion of anabolics. When you're 20, 30 years old, if you're 100% healthy, you could do, and this isn't advice, this is an opinion. You could do like I did and do these crazy freaking doses and come off and nothing happened to you. There's no side effects. You know, like had I have stayed off long enough, my testosterone would have rebounded. Now, I didn't want to stay off. I said, I'm 42 years old. What the hell do I want to stay off for? I'm going to get it from my doctor now. But I could have, and I could have taken Clomid and HCG, and I could have rebounded my own natural testosterone. To me, no. I wanted an advantage at 42 years old. I want an advantage. I want my test levels to be 1,200, 1,300. So by going to the doctor, he's able to supply me with the test to get up to that 12, 13, which when I was 20 years old, I was 1,100. So all I've done now is reset the clock to back when I was 20 years old. My test levels now are what they were producing when I was 20. I really don't have that big of an advantage. I'm not trying to go like crazy. I don't want 2,000 test levels, if you see what I'm saying. And that's it. So when the joints hurt, I might get me some Deca from my doctor. He's going to hook me up. I've tried peptides, stuff like that. They don't really do anything. Very mild peptide prescriptions. But yes, when you're younger, you can shake it off. You can recover. And some of you guys, when you're 35 years old, you might want to start coming off. I waited till I was 42 before I started coming off. But my body was very resilient to everything. It just seemed that the more I took, the bigger and the more beautiful the muscle got. And there was hardly no side effects. Side effects are going to be like, I never even got acne, y'all. I got very little acne, okay? No hair loss. I mean, you guys see I got a full head of freaking hair. And I'm not even hardly going gray for my age. I'm 50 years old, and all I have to do is just very lightly touch this. I don't dye my hair, you know? I stay lean. I stay big. My pancreas, I have no diabetes. I have nothing. I don't take any medication for anything. I'm that blessed, okay? So as long as you're smart about it, you come off at the right age and you go to a doctor and you just have your labs, you have your blood work done, which when I was 20 and 30, I was never having any blood, not major blood work. I would go to the doctor once a year and the blood work would come along with the visit and I would just review it, but I wasn't setting cycles up based on what the doctor was telling me. I was just full steam ahead. I didn't give a shit and I was experimenting with everything, doing crazy huge freaking doses. Just to give you an example, like one year I remember we had crossed over into Mexico. We loaded our van up with a bunch of shit. This was like 1996 or 97. And we had these ReadyJect Cestanons. And I was doing 5 of those damn things a week with 5 milliliter of testananethate. So I was on all that Cestanon all in a freaking week. This is what I was doing. I got freaking huge. crazy huge off of just test. I wasn't running anything else with it. TESTOSTERONE and testosterone was all I ran for like 13, 14 weeks, and I got retarded huge. So that's what I'm saying. I really pushed the envelope back in the day to see what the muscle and what the body was capable of. And I'm probably one of the very few that are willing to talk about it, that are still alive, that lived in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, that experienced all that use, understanding where we were all getting it from back before the internet, how you got it, how you learned about it, and post-cycle therapy. That shit hardly even existed back in the 80s and 90s, man. Like all you did was you took a little HCG. That's all you knew about. And we did such a small amount of it that it didn't even do anything because we were misguided on education on how to flip your own natural test. But I would come off a cycle. I'd be on for 15 weeks, say test, and I'd do test, equipoise, deca back in the day, and I'd come off. And within just like a couple weeks, I was growing again naturally because my natural testosterone had kicked back in because I was so young. It's like I couldn't suppress my own natural testosterone at that age. My own natty test kept wanting to drive forward. It wasn't until I got into my late 30s that I noticed my natural test was now. I just beat the shit out of it. And now I'm going to have to stay off for a while to get it to, to revive or recover. But at that age, I didn't give a shit. Why do I want it to revive? Or my kids already done. I don't want to have any more kids. I don't want to do anything that it even involves me having my own natural high testosterone levels. I could care less at this freaking point. You see what I'm saying? This is all straight facts, guys. This is how it is. You get older, who gives a shit? Why be natural? Go to a doctor, get on prescribed test, and recover, like you did but when you were 20 years old. Your estrogen levels go down, your testosterone levels go up, sex drive is amazing, your thought process is amazing, the way you digest food, the way you absorb protein synthesis, the recovery in the gym, the breakdown of the muscle, the strength, everything in your life is improved on that testosterone. So to say you're 40 years old and still natural, that's ignorance to me. That's just ignorant. It tells me that you're not educated on the way a human being, a male, biologically degrades at the age of 40. That's when it begins. By the time you're 50, your body's getting chewed up on the inside. Absolutely chewed up because your testosterone levels are plummeting. Okay, so at the age of 40, you damn straight better be going to a doctor. All right, these are facts, guys. This is facts. You want to live an amazing life? How about all these 40-year-olds that are going through depression? Why do you think they're going through depression? Why do you think depression kicks in? Because testosterone levels, the gas, starts to plummet and estrogen levels increase. That is the recipe for depression. And some of you dudes go on depression medicine for that. And that's not what you do. All you got to do is get your testosterone levels back up. You don't go on this depression bullshit that fucks your brain up even more. You see? That's the problem with the doctors, is they're not even looking at the freaking estrogen. Your estrogen levels are like 65, 70, and they're putting you on antidepressants. Why don't you just get my estrogen down, fool? Get my testosterone back up where it needs to be. Then I don't need shit. I'm a man again. You see? That's how that works. Anyway, I'm my own doctor. You should be your own doctor. Screw your doctor. You educate that motherfucker when you go to the doctor. You understand what I'm saying? You tell him like I do mine. I tell my doctor what's up. And so, sometimes I even bust him, man. He'll say some shit, talk in circles, and I'm like, nah, man, what you just said doesn't even fucking make any sense. Educate your own doctor, because a lot of street smarts comes along with where I've been in my life and how my body responds to different things that I take. We're not all cookie cutter, man. Every recipe doesn't work for every single one of us. That one blueprint does not work for all of us. And maybe your doctor is used to that one blueprint and you got to educate him. You got to say, no, dude, I'm different. This is what's wrong with me. You take care of me. I'm not your cookie cutter guy. So anyhow, that's all I got to say. Anabolics when you're young, best shit ever. Am I natural? I ain't been natural since I was 20 fucking years old. No, 19 fucking years old. Because right now I'm on doctor prescribed testosterone, which means I'm still not natural because testosterone is an anabolic steroid. I now get it through my doctor though. So no. And I'm proud to say I'm not natural. 100% still juiced up at the age of 50. The only difference is I slowed the fuck down at 42 because that shit probably would have ended up fucking my kidneys up, my liver up, my pancreas up, the heart, cholesterol. I would have begun the overwhelming stage of just beating my fucking organs up. And I said, I'm done. I got this far with no issues. This is where we call it quits. And now I just do small doses just to be normal. That's the bottom freaking line. That's it, guys. So there you go. It's the way it is. Those are facts. You take that shit to the fucking bank. You cash that check. Those are facts. Y'all have an awesome day. Doge Warrior out. Shaboom. Peace.